Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Talkin Kop on a Thursday night. Transfer deadline day eve. They've let myself and Ashley loose with the keys, and the parents have gone away for the night. How are you doing, Ashley?
I'm good. How are you today?
Not too bad. For a day off in front of the sofa watching Sky Sports News and watching all the drama going on. It's been like I was having bingo as to what time Chiesa is going to get announced.
At least you got a signing on your day off. That sounds great.
2 p.m. UK time this afternoon, Federico Chiesa was confirmed, signed, sealed, done. How are you feeling about it first and foremost?
I mean, it was just nice to see the whole signing reveal video and everything. He looked so happy. And I love when you see a player that's super excited to join your team. And like him holding up the shirt, him talking about playing You'll Never Walk Alone, flying over Anfield, like all of those things, they tick all the boxes. And you're like, maybe it's because he's Italian and it's romantic, but I mean, it was great. I just enjoyed it after like a long summer of sort of hardship, thinking about no signings. It was nice to finally bask in the glory of a new signing. But what about you? How did you take it?
It was layers of cheese and gratings of cheese and more cheese on top, and it just kept coming and coming. I didn't know what number he was going to take, and then the penny dropped when it was actually Chris said it to me in the text. It was like, yeah, he's taking the number 14. They've released a video at the same time, and you know all the content, all of this was done last night. You know. I thought the axle looked brilliant last night as well, because like with all the lights
all lit up,
it just looked class, like, you know, because the video team, the content team at Liverpool are brilliant when we're unveiling transfers. They're normally really, really good, and yeah, it's great to have this guy as an option, because I mean I was getting text messages or tweet messages, DMs today from fans from other clubs. They were all saying like, yeah, Mamardashvili, quality signing, but this guy, nobody saw this coming, and I don't think any of us, hand on heart, none of us saw this one coming, and it gives you so much flexibility, and so much so you really could genuinely go into games and play a front four. You know, you could play a 4-4-2 or a 4-4-2-3-1 with one striker up and one striker off, and have lovely balance in the side as well. And you're not going to burn players out, because you do have 6 viable options for 3 spots up front. So the options are fantastic. The fact he took the number 14, great. You know, it's his number anyway. But they, even going back to things like releasing video clips with his dad scoring at Anfield for Italy in Euro '96. Yeah. I knew his dad played for Italy. His dad was never a tip-top player, but he was very good. But it's the omens are really good for him. And did you notice, or did you see his statement, his party statement to Juventus fans?
I did, about how they didn't offer him improved terms or a new contract or anything. So that was interesting. I felt that was very kind of cards on the table from a player. I think a lot of times they keep those cards close to their chest, and to have him speak openly about that was refreshing. I don't know about the level of professionalism around it, but it was refreshing to hear him speak to the fans like that.
Yeah, other than that, today's been a mad day. There's been loads going on. We had the draw for the Champions League.
That's been mad too.
Everything has changed. All the terminology around the Champions League, the whole lot has changed. It is literally now genuinely a league. I still didn't grasp how they were doing it until after the draw. I realized, damn, it's one league. It's 36 teams in one league where everyone plays 8 fixtures.
Yeah, it's still going to take me a while to figure this one out.
Yeah, I think I like it though, because you know yourself, and some of the sales pitches around it they've been right. you see the group stages, and normally you'll get a side like Liverpool would be a classic examples. You're normally seeded one, you get 3 wins, and in the last 3 games, you're like, no, you really only need a point from 3, and you're resting and rotating players. This looks like this could be all action with consequences right the way through up until the end. I mean, if you've only got 8 spots that are guaranteed to get straight into the last 16, open. So goals are every goal that scores throughout is going to count. Your goal difference could really matter a lot. I don't think you'll be able to take as much luxury. You won't be able to take the luxuries in some of the later rounds of the group stage, of the league stage, that you ordinarily would have done in the past. So clubs are going to have to really trust their squads.
Yeah.
And rotation and managing through through blocks of fixtures is going to be critical for success in this format. I mean,
Yeah.
how do you see it in general? I mean, the fixtures came out. How do you see the fixtures first and foremost?
I mean,
I've got them here in front of me. If you give me 1 second, I'll list them off to you with our ones.
Yeah,
first and foremost, we've got.
Go ahead. Why don't you start by
got
listing?
Real Madrid, Leipzig, Leverkusen, Milan, Lille, Eindhoven, Bologna, and Girona.
Yeah.
So
on
how do you see them when they were coming out to you? When that popped up on the screen, I was like,
yeah,
oh my god.
At first glance, I'm like, oh no, because I mean, obviously it all kind of filters out with the way that the league or whatever you want to call it is, but those are hard teams. I mean, for being drawn into pot 1, like you're talking about the current holders, you're talking about the Bundesliga winners, you're talking about the Eredivisie winners. Like there's no easy games in there. I think what you were saying about squads and managing squads is spot on. I think that there's going to be a really different change this year from years past, where you did have years where you could put in the youth, and it made me think a lot about our loans going out and all of these kids that we've all been kind of going back and forth on all transfer window, and now looking at these teams, I can't see many opportunities where any of those guys would have gotten a lot of minutes. Like maybe a few against like a Bologna or something, but you're not going to get minutes against most of those teams if you're Bobby Clark or if you're Stefan Baccetic, even though their ceiling is high. But this to me looks very much like, when we're talking about having 2 first teams, you're going to need 2 first teams to play these games. This is not like a throwaway, put your cup league team out. You need quality. And I think that's where like a signing like Chiesa really makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at it, you've got the one, I suppose the main advantage to all of this, there isn't much traveling in all of it. Yeah. There's no real unknowns. Apart from probably Girona and Bologna, because it's their first time, it's their first round, really. Oshin makes a point there. Be interesting to see where they place the Leverkusen and Madrid ties. Hopefully we start off with one of them. That would be ideal. We get the fixtures list with the dates is released on Saturday, and I think Gav was in the Telegram group earlier on talking about the blocks of fixtures that we have towards, October time with some of the league fixtures. How these league fixtures, I think there's one where I think we have Chelsea and, is it Chelsea and Arsenal? But it's 2 sides who will be vying for top 4 in October with the Champions League game in the middle. So it's those kind of things that you really want to be looking at. Hopefully there isn't an away tie in Europe somewhere like that. But
yeah,
it's going to be. I mean, Girona are the ones I think are unknowns. I think they won today. I think they won 4-0 or 4-1 in the league, and in Gyökeres up front, the guy they signed from Coventry, and they lost Savio to Man City in the summer, but they could really attack this as long as they can get used to playing fixtures, every 3 days. For the Girona and Bologna, that's going to be a new thing. Eindhoven are used to it, Lille are used to it to a point, Milan are definitely used to it. But how they got through that and how we manage it as well with our squad is going to be a real test for Arne Slot. This is what he's got. This is the bread and butter. This is what he's going to be judged on: is challenging in the league, success in Europe. Everything else comes as well. I'll just touch on it quickly. Last night we had the draw for the League Cup third round, and we got a home draw against West Ham coming. I think that's the week of the September 19th, and that gets thrown into the mix as well. So it could be a hindrance. It looks like every which way you dress it up, we don't have easy fixtures coming up at all in the next 6 to 8 weeks. So there's going to be plenty of minutes for everyone. Evening, Keith. How you doing, mate?
Hey, folks. Yeah, good. Just jumping in a little bit late. Had a couple of bits to do. Just listening to you there, Kev, about the fixtures. Last night I heard about the West Ham game. I was in a WhatsApp group, not the one we'd be in, another one, and there was panic, and it's like, the worst draw possible. I'm like, who the fuck did we get? And we've seen West Ham at home. That's not a bad draw. I'd expect us to win that. And looking at that Champions League draw, to be honest, I'd expect Liverpool to win every one of them games except for Real Madrid. And even at that, I'd expect at home Liverpool to put up a good fist of it. Now, that's based on maybe what I expect out of Arne Slot and Liverpool going forward. But something is what touching on there before I jumped on, I thought was interesting was, with the draw of this new Champions League, and I agree with what you guys were saying, I can't get my head around this format at all. I don't know what the fuck is going on with it. I don't know what's happening, who goes through. I think it's a mad scene. But there's no point in holding on to the younger players now when you see it that they're just not going to get the minutes in this, because while I do think Liverpool should win every single game, I'm not worried about Girona, Bologna, Lille, any of them. You don't want to be putting in untested kids in there. So you're looking now with the signing of Chiesa, if we take it as the front three has been for the first two games, that will be the first choice front three. We can take it then that the second choice front three will be in Nunez, Gakpo, Chiesa. I'd be more than happy with that firepower going into them games. Be it the Champions League, be it the League Cup. Once you're at home, I think once Liverpool are at home, they're always a good chance. I think the draw, we were lucky the way it fell with the homes and the aways.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be worried going to Girona. I wouldn't be worried going to Bologna. Who's it? Girona. Who's the aways? Girona.
Leipzig.
Leipzig.
PSV and Girona.
Milan, yeah. I mean, I'd expect us to win all them, to be honest with you. I'd expect us to win. I don't think we'll win 7 out of 8, right? No.
I think 5 and a draw would be enough.
No, yeah, I'd look at 2 draws and the rest of them wins. Give me that, and that'd be my expectation. I don't think Leipzig will beat us. I don't think Milan can beat us. I don't think Lille can beat us. PSV, Bologna, or Girona. I wouldn't expect anything other than wins against them. Leverkusen, I think we could beat. It's at home. I'd expect to beat them. I'm not worried about them either. And then Madrid is a toss of the coin. So I understand that as names, I think it looks a tough draw. Now, I've seen stuff about Aston Villa's draw, and I've seen comments there about Villa. The draw they got. Who did they get? I didn't see the draw.
I'll tell you now. Villa have got Bayern Munich, Leipzig, Juventus, Club Brugge, Celtic, Young Boys, Bologna, and Monaco.
People are trying to say that's an easier draw than what Liverpool got. I think Villa struggled there. I was expecting an easy 6 or 7 games there. Juventus, Bayern Munich, Celtic. Is the Celtic one in Parkhead or is it in?
It's it's in Villa Park. They're away to Leipzig. They're away to Club Brugge, away to Young Boys, and away to Monaco. So they've got Bayern Munich to come to Villa Park,
and
Juventus to come to Villa Park, Celtic to come to Villa Park, and Bologna. So And the thing is, in Unai Emery, they have a manager who knows how to navigate Europe.
Yeah.
Whether they've got a squad
That's
deep
key.
enough is another issue. But
I think they've done well. I
think
think they've done well with their squad, to be honest. Their squad build over the summer. I know they lost Douglas Luiz, and they chose to sell Moussa Diaby as well. But I think they've a good squad there, and I think they signed well as well. So it'll be interesting to see with Villa. But while I do agree that Unai Emery as a European manager, I think he's brilliant. I think he's so underrated. Maybe he's not even underrated at this stage. I think everyone knows that he's good. But I'd worry with their players, but that they might be a bit inexperienced. That's what I think they might find it tricky. But like that, I don't expect them to saunter and sail through that group, whereas I do expect Liverpool. So I just think it depends on the team you are, the expectation you have. Like, the expectation I have for Liverpool in Europe is that we will go out and beat these teams. Do you know what I mean? So it's you know,
I mean, it's good to be back amongst the big teams.
100%.
We went a whole year going against, the lesser teams.
Thursday nights.
Yeah. It's nice to be playing these big teams. I know it looks intimidating, but these are the matches that you want to watch. Yeah.
You have to be there, don't you? You have to be there. I think, Kev, you might have put something in our WhatsApp group, did you, about the strength of the teams, if you put a first team and a second team, and it was just a very high level sort of overview, that if you rested the first 11 and you went with
off the top of my head, our backup 11 now, our League Cup 11, so to say.
Yeah.
You have Kelleher in goal, you have Conor Bradley, Joe Gomez, Kwanzaa, Costa Simicas. You have Endo in the 6 with Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott as your 2-8s. You have Gakpo, Darwin, and Federico Chiesa as your front 3.
That to me is a strong team.
We would have killed for that depth about 2 or 3 years ago.
And now, as annoying as this is going to be to a lot of people who want a midfielder and who want a centre back, it's very difficult to list that second 11 and then walk into the boardroom and say, I need a centre back, I need a centre mid, without caveating it with saying, I need to upgrade this guy at the 6. I need to upgrade this guy at centre back. I think the only way that we're bringing in anyone now, and I'd include January and forwardness, is if you're replacing one in, one out. Because squad number wise, we've a 25-man squad with 3 keepers, and you have Trainione and Dan's to supplement it,
and Morton
and Tyler Morton, because I wouldn't have included those. So numbers wise, it's there. Quality wise, it's not, but numbers wise, it's there.
I think we're going to sign another one before tomorrow is out. I don't know what it's going to be. My choice would be a centre back, and I've said all along I would like a centre back who could play left back, who could cover more than one position rather than just a straight out centre back. But I think they're going to sign a midfielder because there's all this talk, people saying if Sam Tandy has it there about Varela, keep an eye on Varela. There's bleeding plane spotting going on that. There's a plane, a Chesney going out the Porto.
Romano has just come out there. Stefan Bajcetic has completed his medical at Salzburg. Loan move from Liverpool to be completed tomorrow.
I'm happy with that.
I think it's a great. I think whoever's advising him has made the best possible choice for his career, because it would have been so easy for him, as a young Spanish kid, to fancy a year in Barcelona, playing in the new camp, being surrounded by kids who are his age, who he would have played with through all the age ranges of Spain. It would have been very easy and tempting for him to fancy that for a year and to push for that. But he didn't. He was really well advised to go, look, there's a coach at Salzburg who knows you. You're going to be challenging for a title in Austria. You're going to be playing in the Champions League. You've got guaranteed 8 games in the Champions League. And you got your mate who's going to be there with you. It's the best solution we could have hoped for him, for his development long term. Fantastic.
I think it might have been a little different. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Ashley.
I think it might have been a little different had Barcelona come in earlier, because there was a quote from his father yesterday and he was talking about how they didn't think Barcelona was going to be on the table for him. From Stefan's father, I mean, and that they had already kind of made peace with going to go reunite with Pep. So I wonder if Barcelona had happened a week earlier, if we might be talking about something different. I mean, I think he is being well advised, but I do wonder if that temptation might have been a little bit louder if it wasn't a last minute thing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, all right, in that sense. But I'm glad the way it's worked out, because you don't want them, as sort of Kev was saying, you don't want any temptation there that Barcelona is the way forward. Will he play much? I don't know, because Barcelona are jumping in. The fact they've had a couple of injuries, and the young centre mid got injured the other day and is out for the season, I think, Bernal. I don't know if he would have played much there. I think he was literally only going there as a cover player. So I don't get the point of doing that. I think you have to, for the likes of Bajcetic, I think has to play and has to develop to have a future. And Tyler Morton, who people will be going bleed mad that we still have Tyler Morton. Tyler Morton was excellent last year. Tyler Morton has been excellent on loan when he's gone out. People will speculate he's not good enough for Liverpool. If we signed a player from the Championship, like an Alex Scott, let's say, that's his name, is it? Alex Scott off
Alex Scott, yeah, he was at Bristol City. He went to Bournemouth
City, and looks good at Bournemouth. But if we'd have signed Alex Scott, people would be going crazy at the time. We were actually linked to him, and people are looking for him. Tyler Morton played better than him in the Championship and in the lower leagues, and that's not me just picking, Air lad done better. Genuinely, I thought Tyler Morton really came of age and is a good player. So if he stays around, he stays around. But I just think you have to play. And if Bajcetic had gone to Barcelona, I don't think he plays much. And I think if he goes to... Now, it'll be interesting to see at Salzburg, because, okay, Pep Linders is there. He knows him and will play him, but they have a strong midfield. So they've got a fella, an Argentinian guy, Capaldo plays in there. They've Gorna Duat, French lad. They've got two Danish guys, Kjaersgaard and Bidstrup. They've a lot of midfielders, and I think they play a three. I think they do a three in the middle. I think Linders plays the same way as Klopp.
I watched a bit of Salzburg on RT the other night, and it is helter-skelter. It is lunacy football. It's great to watch. It's fantastic to watch, but it would pull your hair out as a fan.
Will he play is me concern there. He should, in theory, if he's going there, get game time. But like Bobby Clark, and I don't mean this to sound I don't care if he plays this year or not, because I hope he has a great career and he develops. Don't get me wrong, I really like Bobby Clark. But we've sold Bobby Clark. We've loaned Stefan Bajcetic. We need Stefan Bajcetic to play and to develop. Now, he'd be in a team where they're winning nearly every week in the Austrian League and then competing in the Champions League. It's a great, great place with a coach that knows him. It's a brilliant move from him if he gets the game time. So hopefully, I don't think he would have got it at Barcelona. I think he would have got a handful of games in that year, and I think it would have been the most pointless move ever. So we'll see what happens with that one. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see the rumbles and grumbles that happen over the next 24 hours. Are we going to do it? And I was convinced we weren't the other day, Kev, when we done a show. Now I'm not so sure. I think we're going to do one.
I've been watching, I've been watching online all day, and you see some people worth listening to when they start talking about stuff. Not a peep out of Liverpool stuff. Absolutely not a peep. But at the same time, you haven't had the dreaded tweet saying that is the last loan signing out the door, Owen Beck or whoever goes next. And Vinny O'Connor is going to Finch Farm for the day tomorrow, because they will be busy. Everton will be busy. So it'll be interesting to see where Sky send him, because they will be tipped off for sure. I don't know. I think it's possible. I think there's definitely a possibility now that the last qualifiers are done for Europe. Clubs know exactly where they are when it comes to European football. There's a few clubs out there that have big problems, like Chelsea. Chelsea have got huge issues with money, and they have to get players out the door. So that could trigger moves elsewhere down the line for. I mean, there's one player at Chelsea I definitely love to put a cheeky bid in for, and that's the kid they got off Villa,
Chukwuemeka.
Yeah, I really liked him when he was at Villa. I thought he could develop into a real proper player, but I don't know what he would bring to us now.
Yeah,
but
I don't think he'd
he's a
probably
really good
break into
footballer.
our team. They've a lot of players like that, and I think that's the Chelsea conundrum, isn't it? And they've signed so many players, like it's ridiculous. They've signed these guys with no plan. You're looking at the players they're selling and the players that they have in their bomb squad, and they're players that they only bought. You know what I mean? I know the likes of the high profile ones, the Raheem Sterlings and all that are in there. But these young fellas that a year ago they were telling us were the next big thing, the most promising players for Fana, Washington, all these lads, Chukwuemeka, and it's like out the gap. Do you know what I mean? It's an awful bleeding place.
It's horrific now when you look at. I mean, the one deal that I've been following all day just out of morbid curiosity, is the Victor Osimhen stuff. I mean, Victor Osimhen is being touted to Al Ahly in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
For something with a buyout in 2 years' time of €50 million. And they're offering him something like €480,000
€500,000 a week. Yeah, pounds tax free.
Tax free. I mean,
once he stays for 3 years, isn't it? Or 2 years.
But no English club could match that. And Chelsea, with their wage structure, can go nowhere near it without wrecking whatever chemistry they're trying to build in their dressing room. You can't now turn around and pay a star guy $300,000 a week or $200,000 a week because you're giving Roman Lavia $45,000 a week, even though you're giving him a 7 or 8 year contract.
The whole model, the whole business plan now, isn't it, is to not give big salaries. It's to give long contracts, but it's to bring the wage bill down from your. I think I've seen something saying that the average under Abramovich was $250,000 a week, and now it's down to $70,000 a week. So they're certainly bringing the prices down. So they're not going to come in like they need. I think it's mental. They need Napoli to drop their price significantly to bring him in, and then they're looking for him to say no to $500,000 a week and take. I don't know what they're going to offer him. As you say, like they can't go in and offer him 3 because it'd be like, well.
What does that say to the rest of your dressing room?
Yeah. And they can't sell any more hotels to themselves.
Good point. That was a very good story that came out about that with UEFA, because UEFA have turned around and poo-pooed the idea that you can write off your losses with hotel earnings, whereas the Premier League voted to not go after that. Which
they tried, but it failed.
They tried and failed. But that's the joys of the Premier League, because it is a group of 20 clubs who vote on rule changes. If it doesn't suit the majority, then it won't go through. But at least
I don't think this applies until next year in regards to this comment.
But at least through UEFA, whatever they try to, because to fit into the UEFA model, by default, they'll have to come back down and fit into the normal run-of-the-mill for the Premier League. Otherwise, they can't get into Europe, so it defeats the purpose. But there's a few other ones going on around there as well. Like, I mean, there's an interesting one, actually. Tammy Abraham looks like he's going to AC Milan from Roma and a swap deal with Salamakers. You know, fee in around 10 million, so we could have come up against Tammy Abraham. But Tammy Abraham is one of those players, average run-of-the-mill Premier League player. But it seems to be an awful lot of them now heading to Serie A. And
Milan will have Ruben Loftus-Cheek as well, and Tomori, all ex-Chelsea, academy players.
Yeah, Chris Smalling. Chris Smalling is at Roma now for a good few years. Doing really well. You had your man, the Scottish guy, playing tonight against Real Madrid.
Oh,
Ollie McBurney.
Ollie McBurney and Scott McKenna. Both of them playing for Las Palmas.
All kinds of ruction.
And you've now got Scott McTominay going to Napoli.
Yeah.
So does
I think that's a mistake for Manchester United. I really do. He's one of those players that I think if you have him in your squad, he's handy.
He saved them multiple times.
Yeah.
He can do jobs for you. And
I don't think there's a lot to be said
either.
No, there's a lot to be said for having players that have been with you for a long time, that get the club and get the fabric of the city and get the I've said it before about Liverpool, you know what I mean? Like, you have to understand the city and all that to really get Liverpool and the people. And I think Scott McTominay, as a Manchester United fan and player who's there since he's 4 or something,
Yeah.
5, whatever age he's there since, he gets that club. And I think you need people like that. And he's a good player. I think he's very, very underrated as a footballer. So it's a strange one just to bring in Ugarte, who, look, we were linked with Ugarte, and I could understand it maybe for Klopp if you were looking for a destroyer. Now I wouldn't go near him. But I think he suits them. I think he suits their need, because they probably need someone who can win the ball and can break down plays when people are running through them. So each, I suppose, transfer and each player's dynamic is different depending on the situation they're going into, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you look around as well. The other thing as well, Ivan Toney's situation with Brentford. I mean, what's going to happen there? Frank has come out and said, no matter what happens, he's not playing at the weekend.
Yeah.
He's training well and what have you, but, you know, he's saying, I mean, Brentford are covering all their bases. They're saying all the right things in public, that if he goes, they're going to try and maximize whatever fee they can get. But it's that tomorrow there's going to be a lot of balls up in the air to see who goes where and who does what.
Sam Tandy with one there. Tony will go to Chelsea. That's my thinking as well.
Yeah.
Again, similar to Osimhen, he has the Saudi offer. It's going to be a big bucks deal.
I think the Wilfred Zaha thing to Galatasaray is scaring Ivan Toney.
I was going to say, look at Jordan Henderson as well, going to Saudi Arabia and just getting out of Dodge as quick as he could. Now, other players will go, and is there been other British players that have gone? I don't know.
No, there's a few European. I mean, your man there, we were talking about it before we came on, Simikan. Mohamed Simikan, he looks like he could be going out there. There was that kid who went from Celtic, Jota. Do you remember?
Yeah, he came right back, didn't he?
Yeah, they couldn't even register him, and he's all over the show now. You know, I think he's gone to France now, I think. Yeah,
but you see, there's a thing for me with the British players not being able to settle. And I'm not saying Ivan Toney's a bad egg or he's, you know, a party boy or a playboy. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to insinuate that. But if you go to Saudi Arabia, and I know a lot of them sort of live in Bahrain, don't they? They do,
yeah. Live in Dubai.
Families live. They don't live in Saudi Arabia to get around any sort of decency laws or whatever like that. But I don't know if a guy like Ivan Toney would settle in Saudi Arabia, and to get that money you have to stay there, don't you, for 2 or 3 years to get the tax-free money.
So you have to be outside. You have to be outside of the UK for 2 years. Otherwise, if you come back and work in the UK again within that first 2 year period, all of the money that you earned is taxable in the UK.
Yeah.
So that's why they have to stay. Once they decide to go, they have to be out of the UK for a period of time, for over 2 years.
So I think it's a big commitment for someone like Ivan Toney to do. Yeah. And I think, not again, I'm not trying to insinuate about Ivan Toney. I don't know what his character or his personality is like. I'm just saying it's a big commitment for someone where I think foreign players, foreign to the UK and Ireland, they're moving different countries, different cultures all the time, whereas okay, we're seeing an increase in English and British players doing it now, and Irish players going to mainland Europe or going to other countries. I just think it's a big jump to go to Saudi Arabia, even for a lot of money. And then I saw Manchester United were sniffing around Ivan Toney as well. That seems madness to me when they've put their resources into Hoyland and Xerxes, what the fuck his name is. I just think that's Chelsea written all over him, and I think he'd be a good signer for Chelsea. I think they've signed some absolute shy. How Chelsea have got to where they are, little going off topic, how Chelsea have got to where they are by spending $1 billion in the last 3 years, and they don't have a keeper worth his bleeding salt, and they don't have a centre forward worth his salt, is beyond me. It's absolutely mind-blowing. The money they spent on keepers, they bought loads of them. They're all shy. The strikers they bought, Nicholas Jackson. Look, people can say he's a good player. He's a Crystal Palace player. He's a Fulham player. Do you know what I mean? He is not a top 4 league challenging Champions League striker. He's brutal. And then the others, Fofana, all these lads that were brought in that they're telling you are good. I know they brought in Nkunku and he's starting to get a few penalties for them or whatever. Cole Palmer obviously smashed it out of the park, but their strikers and their goalkeepers have been absolutely deplorable.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they didn't go for Mamardashvili, and I think it makes sense for them to go for Ivan Toney. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. They're going to bleed him.
One
Well,
thing
it
about
looks-
They're going to
Tony
do all
too.
sorts, aren't they?
Sorry, he might want to stay around for his England career because I believe he got dropped. Like in the new, they came out with the new England squad today,
Yeah,
and he
Lee
got
Carsley's
dropped
first.
from that. So if he goes to Saudi, I don't think he gets back in. I
Yeah.
don't think he gets
Oh,
back
no.
into that
No.
squad at all. I think if he goes to Chelsea, though, there is a chance that he could make a claim for that spot again. So depending on what he wants to do with his future, I don't know if he's done with international football full stop. But if he does want to try, I think the best course of action would be Chelsea for him.
Yeah. Anthony Boylan is saying Tony isn't good enough for a team that wants to be where Chelsea are. He's only good in the box. You need more than that to truly excel. I think they just need someone that can take the goal scored and burden off Cole Palmer. And I think Cole Palmer's an excellent penalty taker, I think Ivan Toney is one of the best penalty takers in world football. I think he's cool, he's composed. I think he can definitely do a job. And sometimes you just need someone that can play in the box. Do you know what I mean? When you've got players like the way they play with loads of these little flies around them, he could be the right choice. But look, I suppose time will tell, and it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. It looks like Arsenal have got an issue after allowing the man Harry Ramsden to go to Bournemouth.
Well,
It
not
looks like-
Southampton.
It's wherever he's gone.
One of them.
Coast.
Yeah.
One of them, yeah, they're both the same. It looks like the guy they were trying to get from Espanyol.
Juan Garcia or something.
Yeah.
Juan Garcia, right?
Apparently, they had an initial fee agreed of €20 million, and then Espanyol turned around today and said, "No, we want a 30 million buyout
Love it.
paid." And it looks like Arsenal are looking for other options now. And they're looking at Neto. That's where the Bournemouth thinking. They're looking at trying to get Neto from Bournemouth instead of going back for Juan Garcia. But that's kind of a bit of a rookie mistake, that they didn't have one lined up ready to go when they allowed Ramsdale to go out the door. But that's definitely one that's going to be that could go all the way tomorrow. Galatasaray look like they've got someone in as well. Sorry, Galatasaray got someone in. So that looks like Wilf Zaha could be on his way to France. Yeah. Lyon.
Yeah. That could be interesting for him. Speaking
Himself
of
and
keepers,
Mopé,
what would
that
you
could be
think
fun.
That would be fun, actually. that tweet from Mopé was hilarious.
Yeah.
Couldn't have him anywhere near my club, but my God, he is an absolute gem on social media.
What do you guys think about the Kelleher bid?
What was the price?
It was
Do we know?
Matt Turner plus 15 million.
Matt Turner. They were offering Matt Turner to us. He
Yeah.
is fucking dirt. What? Get the fuck.
The thing
Matt
is,
Turner plus what? 15 million.
15 million.
Just give
I'm
us the
telling you.
15 million.
If they were
Oh,
offering, an English goalkeeper or a homegrown goalkeeper, and you're talking 15 plus million, I can see the argument for it. But you can't go back to the situation where I don't know if Matt Turner qualifies as homegrown. I don't think he does. So that's you don't really want to be going down that road. My fear is that Kelleher might have given a nod to say, yeah, I could be open to a move, because this isn't the first time Forest have come in for it. They tried.
I know, but it's very late in the day, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It's very
It
late
is,
in the day
100%.
just because I don't know if we spoke when the three of us were on Sunday. I don't know if we mentioned, but there's been very quiet on the Kelleher front all summer. There hasn't been.
Yeah.
I thought there would have been interest. I thought there would have been links and bids for him, and there's been nothing. the start now the day before. And look, I understand teams do this, you know, they try and get a good deal by leaving it late and trying. But as you said about Arsenal, then you end up bleeding scampering to try and get something back. But your man Matt Turner isn't there. No, Jesus Christ, he is not there.
No, I think Yaros is a good keeper. You know, genuinely, I think Yaros could be a very decent number 2.
I think he's probably a year away.
Yeah. I don't know if he steps into those Champions League games that we were putting Kelleher in for.
I remember we had the same conversation when Kelleher was given the gloves over Adrian. It was like, is he really ready? We don't know. And
I was ready for anyone over Adrian.
The worry I have with it, the worry I'd have there is that I think Alisson has shown to be quite injury prone.
Yeah.
Worryingly so. Now, people would say, oh, he's only missed a few games here and there. I think he seems to struggle kicking the ball, whether it's hamstrings or whether it's his toe or whatever it is when he kicks the ball and goes out. I'd feel much more confident having Kelleher there now. I think that extended run he had last season, when he looked dodgy at the beginning of it, I was at the Fulham game when he came in and was getting blamed on a couple of goals. I thought it was a bit harsh. But he grew into it, and by the end of it was his best run of form, and it made him an attractive proposition. I think he could play and goal for a lot of Premier League teams. Whereas I think if we sold him and made Yaros our number 2 and Alisson went down for 6 weeks, let's say, you know, geez, touch wood, it doesn't happen, but if it did, I don't know if Yaros would be capable of doing it, but I'd love to be proved wrong if it did happen. You know what I mean? I think he looks good, he looks promising, but the worry, it's a panic, isn't it, when it comes to sub goalkeepers? We were, like you said, Kev, we were probably all the same about Kelleher when he first broke in, and until they prove otherwise, you're going to always be nervous with them.
It's the ultimate nightmare position in any club, and keepers, because that's why they're a different breed to everyone else. You can only play one, and you know, no matter what you do, there is a defined number 1 and there is a number 2 and a number 3. And if you're the number 2, you've got to suck it up. The help is at the minute. It looks like Kelleher will keep his Ireland place. He was named in the Ireland squad with himself, Mark Travers, and your man O'Leary. So it looks like he's going to be safe enough playing for the Republic. And it will help him a lot if we do get an extended run in the League Cup, that at least he can keep his hand in that competition and, you know, keep fresh and what have you. But I think I'm actually gobsmacked that we're going to keep him for a season. I was convinced that he was out the door.
I thought
more so when the Mamardashvili conversation started happening.
Yeah, I thought he'd have pushed for it, and he doesn't seem to have pushed for it, which is, you know,
really
fair
good.
play.
Really good.
He's excellent keeper. Before we move on to something else, I just want to throw something out there. Competition, you know, with the football prizes. Gav just told me to give a little shout out. They have a Luis Diaz signed custom framed Liverpool shirt on the website at the moment. The competition ends Tuesday the 4th of September at 7:30. There's 499 tickets, and each ticket costs £3.95. So it's a Diaz signed and framed jersey. Includes LED lighting, if anyone's into LED lighting. But it's up on the Football Prizes website. If people are interested, go in there, get your ticket. Like, the thing with this, there's not a huge number of tickets, and for $3.95, I don't know what that's, probably €5, or I don't know what it is in dollars. It's a small thing, chance of winning a good prize. So if anyone's interested, go on to footballprizes.com, I'm assuming it is, and put in a bid for a ticket, and see if you can win that excellent Luis Diaz prize. Luis Diaz, who has started the season very well and went from being the first player on the hatchet list, certainly for me in the summer, I had him gone. He's now becoming more and more important and prevalent in the Liverpool team. So yeah, get on and get that. That was it. Just interjected with a bit of that.
Nah. Got to pay the bills, haven't we?
There you go.
I'm trying to think.
Did we talk about Darwin Núñez? Did we talk about Núñez's ban?
No, we didn't. Go on, tell us all about. Well, I wanted to ask you about something else. So I'll come back to what I was going to ask you in a minute. But go on, tell us about Darwin.
Ask me before you, in case you forget. Okay. Go on, what are you going to ask me?
The Argentinian playing for the Greek side that got linked with us this morning,
Santiago Heze.
Yeah, what do you know about him?
I think he's really good. Been a fair bit of him last year. He was with Olympiacos, and people remember he played Villa and they won the Conference League. They're actually a good side. But he was in the Argentina team for the Olympics as well. Played in centre mid in the Olympics team for Argentina. Seen a bit of him over the sort of end of the season and into the summer. And he looks good. Now, the only thing is, and with these links to Varela coming in, he looked more like a ball winner to me. Now, I haven't seen a huge fucking sample size. I've literally only seen a few games. But he looks more like a ball winner than a ball player. And I thought the Zubamendi thing that we were sort of going for a controller rather than a Ugarte or someone like that. So I think he can play ball as well, but he was more of a ball winner. So I thought it was an interesting link. I would have loved that to be in legs in it, because I think he's an excellent prospect. I think he can really go on and make the leap. No disrespect to any of our Greek fans out there, but I think he can make that leap from Olympiacos. He played for Hurricane in Argentina, Ozzy Ardiles' old team, and he is being sort of on the radar for a while. He went to Europe. Like I said, the Olympiacos, it's not a high-profile team. They're obviously a big club, but, visibility, you don't see a lot of the Greek league there. So I was excited when I saw the link, and about 20 minutes later, I got pilled by James Pearce. So it was a short-lived dream.
The reason why I asked it, well, I wanted to know about the player anyway. But the fact that James Pearce came out and smashed it straight away tells you that they are being told stuff, or they are being told what to put down and what not to put down. And they haven't turned around and shut anything else down yet.
Well, that's the key, isn't it? That is the key. They haven't come out and said, "Oh, what's the usual one they wheel out?"
It's going to be a quiet window, tomorrow, a quiet end of the window kind of
Hasn't been any of that.
Yeah.
No, nothing.
So that's what I think they're going to do. Another one.
They might have a camera set up outside the AXA after all.
Yeah, there you go. There could be something in it. I'm telling you. A little through the night, like I say though. Last time, remember, we were up till all hours following that.
Oh gosh.
That could be a little sneaky one.
That was mental, because there was a pod just finished.
Yeah.
When it was announced, and it was like, can we get back on?
Yeah. Up all night. I remember it. Up all night, just refreshing Twitter and all that, and then you get up and your dreams are shattered the next day. But I wouldn't be surprised if there is a bit, just based on the fact that it's not being rubbished, as we said. They're not coming out and saying, "Oh, look, it'll be a quiet thing." And every window they do it, every fucking time, and an absolute dagger to the heart every time you hear it. And it's usually sort of the last couple of days of the window, and there's been nothing.
Well, James is asking what time it finishes tomorrow. It's 11 p.m. in the UK. The German window, as far as I know, closes at 9 p.m. So it's staggered. Some leagues finish earlier than others. The Saudi league window closes on Monday.
Yeah.
So they're open for the extra couple of days.
It's only a few days, is it?
It's only a few days. So, but I think what you're pointing from the bigger clubs, once it's closed for us, if there's bids come in for players that you think would be used within a squad, it'll be shut down. There'll be nothing going out. But you can imagine Saudi, for those few days, could become a release valve for clubs who have to get money out the door, or get players out the door and money in. So, but yeah, tomorrow is going to be absolutely mental. But Darwin Núñez came back for his little fisticuffs.
Yeah, we've absolutely had a touch there. It couldn't have gone any better.
Yeah, I'm actually thrilled with the results of that.
Yeah,
I think I actually think it could be really good for him.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Certainly for him, of all the players, he doesn't have a hold of the jersey at the moment. He's not the starting centre forward. Jota is. He can wrestle that back. Well, his form would have to do that, but there's a lot to be said for being there on international breaks, isn't there? When others are gone away, and you can walk and you can earn the trust of the manager. The only worry I have is that Uruguay will pull some shite that they want them all to go to support the squad in any way. So Núñez got hit with 5, Bentancur got 4, Jimenez, well, I think 3 more of them. Jose Jimenez, was it Ronald Araujo? 3 of them, I think, got 3-game bans, and then a few bleeding. A few got fines and things like that. I just hope Uruguay don't try and pull the shite that they go and support the team, even though
is it World Cup qualifiers that they've got coming up?
It usually is. I mean, South America is just World Cup qualifiers on loop, isn't it?
Yeah, it's World Cup qualifiers or Copa qualifiers. It's one or the other.
No, they don't qualify for the Copa. They all go into the Copa, so it'd be World Cup qualifiers.
Mad. But
I don't know. Yeah, whoever stopped him from throwing that chair deserves a fruit basket and a raise. Because I think that was the definitive moment where that could have gone so much so much worse.
Matt's in the chat saying the Varela rumor is starting to gather steam.
I've seen a few. I've seen a few quotes on there.
Who's it coming from?
It's the guy who broke
South
the
American
McAllister.
Journalists.
Yes, it's a guy who sort of was heavy on the McAllister news as well, and I think there's a connection to Varela with him as well. I think he might be close enough to Varela's camp. Be interesting here. Don't fucking threaten me with a good time signing Argentinians because this day is just getting spicy for me. Heze short-lived, but now we're back on to bleeding Alan Varela, a player who I wanted to sign at the start of the summer. And anyway,
he was on your bucket list, wasn't he?
He was on my list. A lot of people will rubbish him and say he's too small. I think he's an excellent ball player. I think he's a technician. He can win the ball. He can play the ball. I think he's brilliant. I've thought it for a long time. There's players in Argentina. In fact, is the player who took over from our Boca Juniors has gone to fucking Saudi, I think. Eki Fernandez, brilliant player. And I think he went to Saudi or somewhere mad. So they're starting to cherry pick the talent out there. So look, if we can get Varela, I will be more than happy. And if we get Varela, just to say that, he is small. I think something Kev, you touched on earlier in the show that, where we might not sign players because we've got an 11 and we've got a second 11. Some of them are injury prone or whatever, but you don't have to play an Alan Varela if you sign him. You can pick when he plays. I think I'm not looking to drum Gravenberg out of the team because I think he's been brilliant so far and I think he's improving. So you just add a bit of quality in there. Be very interesting to see what happens. Alan Varela, I think we need a defender, but if we get Varela, I won't be too displeased. Varela and Bastoni, and I'll be happy enough with that. I'll take that.
Good God almighty, you want all the toys.
Yeah, no, I'm only you wouldn't be getting Bastoni at this stage, but I think he's one that he might keep an eye on in the future, especially
if Chiesa works out. Well, if Chiesa works out and we get over this hump of signing Italians. When was the last Italian to really work out for us was Degen.
No, Degen was Swiss.
No, Degen was Swiss.
We've never had an Italian work out for us. So the list of Italians who played for us is Balotelli, Barini, Aquilani, Dossena.
That was it. That's what I was thinking.
That's the one. And he was bleeding brutal.
I know.
And then we had Paletta. Paletta was Argentinian when we bought him. Was Argentinian when we sold him. Donny was Brazilian.
Brazilian, but he was
Brazilian. There was a Padelli, Daniele Padelli was an Italian keeper that we had. There was a few, but none of them are great. Yeah. Unfortunately, they were all.
I think this generation of Italians. You look at your man at Arsenal, who's at Chelsea,
Jorginho.
Yeah. Well, he's a Brazilian, really, isn't he?
But
he was a Brazilian, I think, when.
Yeah, it's not like they're coming to the Premier League of the 90s, in the early 90s, where it was physical and rough and tumble. It's not that league anymore. It is becoming much more of a technical league.
But it's funny.
Technical players are getting
more Italian settled back then. Vialli,
Ravanelli,
Zola, Ravanelli, Di Canio.
Yeah, but they were like quality.
Yeah, they were great players. They were great players, but yeah, I think it's interesting. You know what I mean? Like, I think if to get a Bastoni out of Inter Milan would be really, you'd have to do a lot of groundwork there. But I don't think that's all joking. So that won't happen now in a day. But do you think there's anything now? Mo Salah's interview today, I thought was a bit telling. I'm not as confident of him staying after looking at that than I was on Sunday.
I don't think he's said anything different to what he said.
No, I agree, and I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that. But I don't know what it was. I think that there was just a bit of a thing in it. It's like, look, we won't worry about that. Blah blah.
I think anytime he says like there's 1 year left, you're like, oh no.
Yeah. Let's just enjoy the time we have together and not worry about the difficult breakup.
I go back to what Klopp said in one of his interviews last year, and it's very true. And a lot of the players are like this as well. You can tell when they do interviews. You sign on for a year. From if you buy into the project for the year, and at the end of the summer, decisions are made. Some you stay, some you go, whatever. I think he's bought in 100% to what Slot is doing this season, and what will be with him. I'd be more worried if you're talking about if you were talking about a 28-year-old Mo Salah with his best years in front of him. I still think he's world class. He's still one of the best forwards in world football, and he's probably got another 2 years left at this level. And it would be a shame to let him if he goes. But you know what? Please God, hopefully everyone has just remembered to enjoy the time that he's been with us and not moan and groan because he might be leaving. It's like it is possible they will turn over players. We're never going to keep everyone all the time. And if he wants to go, good luck and what have you.
I wonder is Chiesa the
future proofing?
That was Gav's word. I don't know. James Pearson looks like he's poo-pooing Varela. We can put fucking
be a bridge like for Mo. I mean, I think Chiesa could extend Mo's career. I think that's the other flip side the way you could look at it is, I mean, I think I talked about earlier. What I was worried about was we were going to rinse these players for their last year of their contract and then just let them go. But if you have Chiesa coming in and you're able to rotate Mo more thoughtfully, you could have, a different conversation on the table when it comes to extending his contract where you realize, hey, we can actually prolong this guy's career because now we're not depending just solely on him and we can let him rest when he needs rest. So I do think it's possible. And I think the noise coming out of Mo is it's very much in line with what's coming out of Slot. Like there's a party line about buying in for the year. And I think that, whatever they're being told by the media team is echoed across the players. So it might not actually mean anything. We might just be reading into it.
Yeah, James Pearce has firmly closed that down.
Don't be minding him.
Sorry, buddy.
As they're saying, Anthony Boyle says if it's not Ornstein or Joyce, it's still on. And you can actually change it. If it's not Ornstein, it's still on. Because Joyce's taking a dip this window, I think. I think Arnie is the man that obviously has the ear of Richard Hughes. So until Arnie says it, I don't want to know.
In fairness, I'll tell you what, Fabrizio Romano has still got his pinned tweet from his exclusive story that Federico Chiesa was a possible option in the final days for Liverpool. He's going to live off that one for a long time because credit where it's due, he was the first one to come for it. And it's telling that is still his pinned tweet. That's his claim to fame. God bless him.
Indeed. Is there anything else we want to chat about before we wrap up, boys? Well, Kev, you're the host. You can wrap up whenever you want. We can stay here all night if you want.
Now you're all right. We're going to head away in a second.
It'll be a long
Deadline Day Eve. Yeah, Deadline Day Eve.
Deadline Day Eve. But I suppose the last bit of the housekeeping will be the charity, Fan Support and Food Banks and the Lighthouse in Dublin. Links are in the description. If you could donate, you know the story. If you can donate, please donate. I'm following most of you on social media that are in the chat. I never ever see anyone copying and pasting this onto social media. It's right there. Go on to @Talkin Kop, copy the tweet. That's the pinned tweet for @Talkin Kop. Post it onto your own social media page and get it moving. and we'll see what happens. Tomorrow, social media is going to be awash with people looking and scrolling and what have you. Get this tweet out there and share it as much as possible, and hopefully we can get the dial moving on that a little bit as well. Phil's stuff is in there as well for the Laura Lynn Foundation, and if you're not in his the fantasy football group or the fantasy football league, thank God if you're not, great, because I'm absolutely woeful at it. But there is a good crowd of people in there, and he's raised a good chunk of money with it, so that's really good. If you can help out with that as well, it'd be great. But other than that, not an awful lot going on really for the rest of the night. It looks like a lot of clubs are just going to get up in the morning and go hell for leather, and it's going to be full on all day. No doubt that we're going to be doing a show tomorrow night as well. We'll probably see it over till the end of the window, and then we'll all get back to talking about normal stuff like chip butties and.
I deactivated my Twitter because of the transfer window, and
I don't
I'm going to
blame
reactivate it. I might even reactivate. I might keep it gone. But my plan was, as soon as it's over the deadline day, I was going to reactivate. But then I think people will be losing their shit no matter what you do. So I might just keep it gone. Just keep it away.
Yeah, it's. Do you know what? It's not the worst idea in the world to have. But look, it's 11:05. Thanks, Ashley. Keith, cheers, buddy. Tomorrow night there will be a show. I know Chris is going to be on. I'm pretty sure Gav's going to be on, and I might be on as well. I don't know who else is going to be about, but if we're busy, then keep the bell icon on, because if we're busy, I reckon we could just launch a show straight away. Who knows?
Yellow toys and yellow dresses.
Yellow toys and all that good stuff as well. So thanks very much for everyone in the chat for your comments, and don't forget to share that tweet about. Really important. Talk to you again. See you later. Good night.
Good night, everyone.